You are listening to WNHHLP 103.5 FM, broadcasting live from downtown New Haven, Connecticut. We are streaming live on TuneIn Radio. We're also streaming live at www.newhavenindependent.org. And we are also streaming live on video on Facebook Live. You can just go to facebook.com/New Haven Independent. And we are also on YouTube and so many other media outlets. Welcome to another edition of Outside the Box. I'm your host, Anthony McClean. So glad that you're able to join us today as we continue, as we finish off our second full week while we're at our new time slot this week. We're on every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, talking the best in sports. And today, we're going to be talking a little bit of boxing today as we prepare for arguably one of the most anticipated fights in the last at least 5 to 10 years. Of course, on Saturday night down in Vegas, Canelo Alvarez taking on Terrence Crawford for the undisputed middleweight championship of the world. I've got our buddy Ronnie Duncan from Sports Rap Radio in Detroit to talk with us about the fight. We're going to be also joined by Boxing Hall of Famer Mary Jo Sanders as we go along, but we're going to get started right now. Ronnie, what's up, man? Thanks for joining us.
Always a pleasure, Tony. Always a pleasure. And like you said, it is countdown to the showdown for this fight. It will be on Netflix. If you are a subscriber, you don't have to pay a penny more, and you get a chance to see something that people will be talking about for generations.
The whole, again, it's just on a peripheral. It's just so glad to finally see something, to see an event, because it's been few and far between in boxing over the last few years when we've had events like this coming up, where you've got two guys at the prime, at their peak, at their prime, and this is one of those, pound for pound battles. Give me the first thing. What's your sense of how this fight is going to play out early? What are just some of your initial thoughts going into this fight?
Tony, initially a lot of people thought, okay, it's all going to be about Canelo. And if you can just hold tight for just a second, I think that's Mary Jo Sanders trying to buzz her way in. So if they can take you full screen right now, and if you can just fill for me for just a couple of minutes when I come back, I'll have me and Mary Jo, and we can talk about this and those questions.
Sure.
Can that be done right now? I just want to answer the door because I think it's Mary Jo at my house.
Sure.
Right, good enough. So why don't you just set it back up? Let everyone know the fight is happening at Allegiant Stadium. The fight is taking place this coming Saturday, and I'll fill in for a second. So just you go ahead and do that. I'll answer the door, and I'll come right back, okay?
Sure, not a problem. And see, again, for myself, and I think for a lot of sports fans, it's been way too long since we've had a fight like this that basically the excitement going into it is going to lead up to, the hope is always that the fight lives up to the hype. And I think with this fight, because you've got two guys at the peak of their career, unlike when we had Mayweather and Pacquiao. Both of them they weren't past their prime, but it was one of those things where, let's face it, that fight probably should have been done, say, 5 years sooner. Maybe if it had been done 5 years sooner, it might have turned out to be a better fight. But this one, we're getting both guys at the peak of their career.
Hey,
we're getting
you got both of
and it's gonna be fun. Okay,
and you got both of us in the house at the same time. She's Mary Jo Sanders. Exactly. I'm Ronnie Duncan. We're part of the Mary Jo Show with Ronnie Duncan on Sports Rap Network. It's really Ronnie Duncan Show with Mary Jo. But we're here for you, Tony. It's going to be a good fight. Mary and I have gone back and forth on this fight, what it means, how it's supposed to go. And let's face it, Canelo is 63 wins. He only has 2 losses. He has 2 draws. He has 39 knockouts. Okay? 39 knockouts in 63 fights. He hasn't really knocked out anyone in quite some time. Then when you look at where he's at, where he's been, who he's fought, you've got to say to yourself, Terrence Crawford is a two-time undisputed champion. 140 pounds, 147 pounds, 41-0. Never lost a professional fight, Tony. Then you add on the fact that he has 31 knockouts. He is a complete fighter. He's the Matrix. Tony, the man fights southpaw as well as orthodox. The man creates a problem. The one thing we know is that when you look at those two losses, those two draws, Mary, they have one thing in common. The people that he's fought jabbed. Mm-hmm. Even in the draws, jab, 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 jab. If you speak of the two losses, Dimitri Bivol and Floyd Mayweather, jabbers, movers in the ring. Terrence does that. Terrence does it better than Floyd because he does it with power. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
You know, Ronnie, hi, Tony. Ronnie's trying to change my mind. He's a really good convincer, and he does. You know, Ronnie brings his receipts. I still love Canelo. I know.
She has red hair too, but we just don't call her cinnamon.
But it is true. I mean, you know, Crawford. He is a stronger puncher, and he's like me. Whenever anybody tells you can't do it, he makes sure he does it twice and very well. Either way, it's going to be a spectacular fight that that boxing fans have been longing for. I can't wait to see it. I really can't. You can go back and forth. I mean, their records are phenomenal. They both are absolute the cream of the crop as far as athletes, and I can't wait to see it. I can't.
To me, this is one of those styles make fights.
Yeah,
you know, they're like you said, you know, with the jabs, and they have similar opponents as well. Let's go to each side. For Crawford to win, give me three things that Crawford has to do to be able to win this fight. I'll start with Mary Jo.
Well, like Ronnie said, jab for sure. He's got that beautiful long reach. I think he needs to jab. I think he needs to switch up, and I think he needs to get Canelo very frustrated. And he is capable of all of those things.
I think she's absolutely right, Tony. I think the one thing that has to happen as we look at this fight, he's got to send a message early to Canelo. Remember, Canelo's 168 pounds. He's the bigger man. This is his undisputed championship. Crawford's trying to become a third-time undisputed champion. WBA, WBO, IBF, WBC belts. Mm-hmm. He sends an early message to Canelo. Come into my den, and I will kick your you-know-what. Mm-hmm. He's got to do it. Floyd was able to do it. Even with bad hands against heavier punchers and bigger punches, he sent a message to your brain. Mary knows. You're talking about a Hall of Famer. She knew when she fought Chevelle Hallback at the Kuwaitan Casino in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, she knew immediately, I'm in for a fight.
Yeah.
She knew immediately by the first punch that Chevelle Hallback hit her with, she was going to have to do one thing, and that one thing only was going to make sure that she was on defense. It's that simple. She's been in the ring at the highest level. She's been a 5-division time champion. She has 6 championship belts. If anybody knows who's going to win this fight, it's not Ronnie Duncan, it's Mary Jo Sanders.
Well, look you got him on a good morning, Tony. Because he doesn't back down. We've been going back and forth. I mean, but like you said, it comes down to the styles and one punch. It only takes one punch, and that's why I love this sport so much. It's stats. You can run stats all day. It's the heart and who wants it more, and they both got so much to fight for, and that's why it's going to be just a spectacular match.
Tony, this is going to be better than most people anticipate. Okay, this is going to be better than Hagler Hearns. It's going to be better than Leonard Duran. It's going to be a young man who has never, ever lost. Even when Leonard beat Hearns, he had already lost. Remember, he had lost to Roberto Duran. Even when Marvin Hagler fought Leonard, they weren't undefeated. The last time we had anything similar to this, maybe, just maybe in 1979. it's Leonard against Wilfredo Benitez. But we're having something to happen in the world of sports that we haven't had in a long time, where a younger opponent is supposed to be the better man, and that's Canelo. Canelo is 35 years of age. Crawford's the old man. He's 37.
Which in boxing years, that's like dog years. People can question that, but also we saw Manny Pacquiao at 47 do his thing.
And, Manny, of course, was her classmate in the induction into the Hall of Fame. And she's still convincing herself that, as Tony and I saw, Barrios won that fight, Tony. Did he not? But if you ask somebody about their classmate, I went to school, I went to the Hall of Fame, and Manny Pacquiao won that fight. I don't want to hear that. I feel like hitting her right now.
This is the great thing about this fight. And see, let's face it, over the years, we've, whether it was, Ali Frazier, whether it was, like you said, Hagler Hearns, there's always the debate, I know I have friends that still think Marvin Hagler beat Leonard after all these years.
Those people still alive? I thought that was heartburn.
Yeah, no, they're still around. But the thing,
I was there in 1987. I know what happened. Leonard beat Hagler.
We haven't had I think the great thing about it is we haven't had a fight like this where it's universal, where everybody is into it. And okay, we said, what does Crawford have to do? In turn, and I'll start with you, Ronnie. What does Canelo have to do to win this fight?
Canelo has to be Canelo. He has to let him know that I am the bigger man. You're too small for me. He has to dominate. All right. And what he has to do is that he has to go ahead and with those shots to the liver. Canelo is vicious, and he is a tremendous compact fighter that his power punches are in combinations. Not too many people do that. It's 1, 2, boom. Not Canelo. Canelo's throwing 3 to 4 punches that are meant to hurt and destroy you. So he's got to basically, and I think that's going to be the key. Who comes out, wanting to rest?
Yeah.
Canelo's going to be hitting those arms because he wants you to be in a position where you can't jab anymore.
Right.
That it hurts you to lift your arms in the jab. If you want to beat Canelo, you've got to move. If you want to frustrate Canelo, you've got to move. If you want to beat him, you've got to jab and you've got to throw some meaningful punches. Everybody talks about, Canelo's never been dropped. It's true. He's never been, knocked out. He's never lost a fight because he wasn't being threatened to be knocked out. We know he has a good chin. But there's an old saying in boxing. You can grow old in that ring in one night. I don't care how much you've trained, how good your body is. Your body is not meant to go through all of that. And I think for me, I use the example of John the Beast Mugabe against Marvin Hagler. The reason why Sugar Ray Leonard was so motivated to fight him. Marvin turned old overnight. He wasn't old when he fought Tommy Hearns. He still had that in him. But when you demand that much out of your body time and time and time again, and you're trying to fight father time, mother time, you can't do it, Mary. I just don't see it, because what happens is that as individuals, we get to that point, we hit the wall. I'm wondering if that wall is going to be September 13th in Las Vegas, and we see Canelo turn old overnight. But the same can be said for Terrence Crawford. He too could turn old overnight. And we can see that with him.
Yeah. And Canelo breaking down that body of Crawford, like you said, he knows where to land those punches to where you think you're in shape coming into the fight, and you are. But you hit those certain spots with that power, it's a game changer. He's got to, like you said, he's got to move. You know what I mean? The feet are everything. The feet are key. We know he has a little trouble being flat-footed, so it's anybody's fight. Roddy doesn't agree. It's anybody's fight.
No. I mean, I'm not denying that. I'm not. Let me put it to you this way. I am not saying that Canelo Alvarez is some kind of chump. He's over the hill. He's done. Yes, he has a lot of wear on his tires. Ain't as much tread there as it was 10 years ago. 15 years ago. I'll ask you this. If we look at the last 3 fights that Canelo Alvarez has had, William Scully, you don't even know who William Scully is. You never heard of William Scully before William Scully got in the ring with Canelo Alvarez. He went the distance with Canelo. This guy doesn't have the skills of Terrence Crawford.
It's true.
He went the distance with Canelo. Berlanga, big hitter. He went the distance with Canelo. Munguia, knocked down twice in that fight. Known as a puncher, went the distance because they like to fight in the phone booth. Terrence Crawford is not going to be there for him to hit.
Yeah,
Terrence Crawford is not going to be there for him to hit.
And now,
where you may say, Tony, no, where you may say, and others may say, Ronnie is so. No, but I'm saying styles make fights.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I've given when I give those examples of individuals, Arizandi Lara, these are losses. You know, Canelo beat these guys. Alfonso Gomez, Austin Trout. What did they have in common? They were movers. And the mere fact that they look like they could go with Canelo, the mere fact that there's a possibility that some will look at the fight and say they beat Canelo, Miguel Cotto, not the greatest boxer ever and one of your favorite people, I know that. But he was moving on him.
Yeah.
And created problems for him. Problems.
So do you think
Shane Mosley, he lost to him, but he created problems. And I'm not being, how can I put it? I'm not trying to breed Mexicans against black fighters, but some of the greatest Mexican fighters have had difficulty against slick black fighters throughout decades. Did anybody see Whitaker against Julio Cesar Chavez? Did anybody see Meldrick Taylor in both of those fights against Chavez? Movement kills that kind of boxing style. Look at Azuma Nelson. You know, and what he did. I mean, history repeats itself in so many ways. I just hope that we end up with a great fight. Canelo wins. I'm sitting up here. I'll come back on your show and I'll tell Mary Jo, which I tell all the time, she's the greatest of all time, but I'll mean it because I'm going to stop predicting fights. I'm going to stop.
It's my question.
Just call Mary Jo. I ain't got no answer. I don't know what the hell I'm talking
about. No. My question is, so you're saying that if this winds up being one of those fights where it goes, this the longer it goes, it's gonna be more in favor of Crawford than Canelo.
If Crawford can take Canelo's punch, yes, that's the big question. Can Canelo hit you and hurt you? I think Canelo can hit and hurt Crawford. Now I got to be honest.
Right.
Who's the bigger puncher? Canelo. But I ain't never seen Crawford sit there and go, hit me, hurt me.
Right.
What did Crawford do when he had his biggest moments? What has he ever done on stage when the moment has been big? Has he won? Did he demolish Earl Spence? No, Earl Spence is no Canelo. But did he demolish him? Did he demolish Victor Postal? Did he demolish Ricky Burns? Did he demolish some of the greater 140 pounders and 47 pounders of that time? You saw what he did to Sean. Sean Porter. Sean Porter got knocked up and down like he was a rag doll. Now, you look at the highlights and what they show you. Oh, look what happened to Amir Khan. Who hasn't beaten Amir Khan? It's something like, who hasn't slept with Madonna? Give me a break.
Oh, God.
I'm serious.
Here we go.
And hopefully there's no one on both of those lists that you were talking about, but that's a whole other thing as well. But the thing that I think the thing for a lot of us is that it's in Vegas, and you hope that it doesn't come down to you hope whoever wins it convincingly, and it doesn't come down to the judges, because usually it goes, usually it goes to the reigning champ. Now, I guess technically, they're fighting for Canelo's crown. Am I correct? This is strictly
this has nothing to do with Crawford as far as the crown. Crawford is no longer the 154-pound champion. When he signed to take on the 168 pounds, this is not his. This is all about, put it this way, whoever wins all the belts. Mm-hmm. And that's why Terrence Crawford you got to admire Terrence Crawford saying, beautiful. I'm moving up in weight.
Yeah. 2 classes, yeah.
I'm going to challenge the man who says, I'm the baddest man on the planet. Okay? He's moving up in weight. That says a lot. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to take over, but I'll put it to you this way. Mary, talk to us about the mental edges for both of these fighters. I mean, you've studied, psychology in school, etc. I mean, you're a personal trainer, you're a therapist, the whole 9 yards. Talk to me about the mental, physical aspect and the attributes of both from that standpoint, mentally and physically.
It's all a mental game, which is so wild because you see the physical, you see the fighters, you see what they've done in the gym to get their bodies the way that they need to, especially coming up or down in weight. So but like I said, the mentality of Crawford, like I said, when you doubt him in any kind of way, that's his challenge, and there are coaches and trainers that you have to deal with everyone individually. Some you say you can't do it, they'll do it. Some you have to praise them, coddle them, and get that response. So anybody doubting Crawford, that is the fuel to his fire. That's his mentality. For Canelo, he's got something to prove as well. He doesn't want to give up all of these accolades because, like Ronnie said, this is for the whole bag of marbles.
This is a legacy fight. This is a legacy fight more than anything else.
So I think it will come. I mean, it's all strength. You see that up front, but it's the mental training and what you have to do in your mind to win. You know what I mean? Everybody sees the physical, but it is so much more mental.
Mm-hmm. What do you, as a fighter, what do you think is the easiest? Not so much easier, but what do you think is the less difficult? Going up in weight or going back down in weight?
I think going up.
Okay.
I think going up, especially if you've carried that weight, for a little while. If you do it the right way, like I've said with Ronnie, when I had to go up, I moved up 4 weight classes. So when I moved up, people are like, oh, you get to eat hamburgers and pizza and drink milkshake. No way. You just, it's kind of a chore. It's a job. You have to eat more clean foods. You still have to keep your body together. When I was fighting at 140, I had an 8-pack. When I was fighting at 160, I had an 8-pack. But you have to do it meticulously. You have to do it orderly so your body doesn't get taxed just by gaining weight or losing weight. I really think it was easier for me to gain. But it's also a job. You have to eat more and not necessarily anything you want. You still have to keep your body clean throughout this whole process. So I liked that I went up and not down.
And I would think also, especially with somebody like Crawford, the speed factor. You don't want to go up so much that you lose, because when you're when you're a speed fighter, that's your calling card. The last thing you want to do is to go up and then lose that aspect, because then it makes it a completely different fight. Yeah. Because you're not only getting up on the weight, you're also, your style now changed, and like you said, it goes back to the mental. You're fighting a different, because in a sense, you're fighting 2 fights.
Yeah,
you're fighting the physical fight, of course, but that mental fight, sometimes it's almost worse than, not worse, but it's almost tougher than the physical.
Absolutely, 100%. And it's like you had said, as far as moving up the speed, that is the number one concern. Are you going to lose speed, and how much of it? And that's why the process of gaining weight it should be very meticulous and slow, so your body gets acclimated to that weight. You can still train with it. You can still be fast. It's a lot. It's a lot either way. And for him to be moving up a couple weight classes, it's going to be something to see.
We talk about weight classes moving up. I think some have had success moving up. I think is when you have to come down in weight.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Roy Jones. He moved up to take on John Ruiz to fight for the heavyweight championship of the world. Remember, he had that one loss. Okay. And that was disputed. He comes back. Mm-hmm. He beats Montel Griffith. No problem. Okay. One disputed loss. Montel Griffith comes back and he says, I'm going to go for the heavyweight championship of the world. One time he was campaigning to take on Mike Tyson.
Yes.
That's how confident he was in his skill set. Reflexes, quickness. Mm-hmm. He comes back down to light heavyweight and fights Antonio Tarver and gets knocked the freak out. Glenn Jones knocked the freak out. You lose something going up and then coming down.
Yeah.
You really do. Going up, you better stay up. Mm-hmm. Terrence Crawford, if you win this fight and then you think you're going to come down and win 160, no, you're not. If you think you're going to come back down and win 154, no, you're not. Because it takes something out of you. Mm-hmm. Here's the one factor that I didn't hear in your dissertation in reference to weight. And she can answer this better than I can. Hate to put her on trial, but I will. Yeah. Mary Jo, when you were training,
yes,
did you train against bigger fighters, even though you were fighting someone that was 140 pounds, but you were taking on 160 pounders in your training?
Always.
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 And so this is not going to be something totally new for Terrence Crawford. Mm-hmm. When you were at 147 pounds as a welterweight, not a junior welterweight, you were taking on 165 and sometimes 170-pound fighters. And the reason I know, because I asked, because you wanted to see what the strength factor was going to be and how you could deal with that.
Yeah. And I only sparred with men. I sparred with one woman. And
kicked that bitch's
ass. She had ended up, she was from Canada, Mary Spencer, and she had ended up winning bronze in the Olympics for women's boxing. But everybody else was a man, because they're denser, because they're more powerful, because they're bigger, because they're stronger. And, like I had said to Ronnie, you do that in all sports. You want your competition to even be better than you, so you rise up to that level. It just hurts a lot more when you're boxing instead of playing tennis. So
it's not going to be that difficult because he's fighting Canelo because he's a bigger man. Most lighter fighters fight heavier people all the time. Most bigger fighters want to spar against lighter people because they want the effect of the speed. They want to get used to the speed difference. So here you have Terrence Crawford. And if you listen to Mary and I, Terrence can win this fight. Because if he does it like Mary said, if he did it like Mary said, if it is evident that he has followed that way that Mary is thinking, where I can be muscular but not lose my speed, and can be lean and not lose my muscle reflexes. Mm-hmm. Okay? Exactly. Muscle reflexes. Reflexes are the most important aspect of this game. That is the gift to any boxer. Not how fast you are, how quick you are. What are your reflexes like? Yeah. How do you respond? Sergio Martinez, great middleweight champion, had one of the great reflexes I've ever seen, where his body knew if I hit you here, I was going to do something else. And that's exactly, remember when he knocked down Paul Williams?
Mm-hmm. Just like that.
Knocked him down, knocked him out. And the reason he knocked him out is because of his reflexes. Counter punching is going to be on a beautiful art of display come September 13th. We're talking to the best counter punchers out there, meaning that I'm trying to get you to fall into my trap.
Mm-hmm. Leave that.
We're talking about two of the best thinkers out there.
Exactly.
In the ring. Canelo is put it this way. Canelo's a headache. I'm glad I ain't got to fight him. He's a headache because you make one mistake,
he'll pounce on you.
Night night.
Yeah, he will pound.
One mistake. It's night night.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I ain't trying to get hit by that.
Oh,
I never called him no names, so don't be telling people I called him Cinnamon. That was the name they gave him. All right, I didn't call him Freckle Face. That's the name they gave him.
Mm-hmm.
I love Mexicans. All Mexicans. Via Mexico.
You're listening to Outside the Box here on WNHH LP 103.5 FM downtown New Haven. Anthony McClean alongside Ronnie Duncan and Mary Jo Sanders. Historically, I want to just, you guys are both historians in the thing. Why?
Mary's the oldest of the two.
It seemed like to me, it seemed like you had more fights like this where guys or gals were doing the weight change, where they were going, say, 10. Why don't we see that as much now as we did back in the day? Is it because just the way the sport has progressed, or is it just, is it just something that's somewhat become passé now?
I think there's a nostalgic aspect to heavyweights, to the heavyweight boxing, prize fighting. Audiences love to see those big punches, those big knockouts. So, and there's the bantamweights and the featherweights, and but I think for the audience, they like to see those big blows, and there's nostalgia to those heavyweight fights. Also, fighters, a lot of times way back in the day, we didn't make much. So I think, some of the fighters are like, where's the money at? So I believe that's why a lot of the fighters would move up in weight, because everybody was looking for those magic heavyweight fights. So I think that has something to do with it.
I think it has a lot to do with it as well. We look at situations today, and we just heard about it. Mike Tyson fighting Floyd Mayweather. And as a boxing purist, you don't like it because, completely out of someone's weight class. But the mere fact that they are entertaining that, as well as Gervonta Tank Davis fighting Jake Paul. With that being said, we've always been to see if the little guy can beat the big guy. Even in biblical times, David against Goliath. Even when Muhammad Ali was fighting at his best, and he was the number one athlete of his time, the number two athlete was Wilt Chamberlain. Yeah. We saw it quite often, Howard Cosell on television. So what do you think you can beat Muhammad Ali? And he would sit there and he can't get beyond my reach. And Ali was like, boy, I'd chop you down like a tree. You get in the ring with me, it'd be timber.
Just the fact that the way he was shuffling.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh, you saw that? Yeah. Yeah, the way he was shuffling.
He was like, I've got it.
So we like to see the fantasy match. When you are Salvador Sanchez, we wanted to know if you could beat the welterweight champ of the world. Can you beat Carlos Palomino? Can you beat Roberto Duran? It's when Roberto Duran fought Leonard. Roberto Duran was a 135 pounder moving up to 147 pounds. He won because that mental tenacity. He won. He beat Leonard at his own game. He lost, of course, the second fight. He wasn't nowhere near the shape that he was. Had to get down to 147 pounds. Had diuretics in his system. Okay, fine. They fight a third fight that everybody forgets about in Las Vegas. I want to say it's 88, 89 maybe. And Leonard gets cut, but he's dominating. But Duran isn't what he was before. But we fall in love with Duran when he beat who? Iran Barkley, the middleweight champ of the world. Duran went from 135, 147, 154 when he beat Davey Moore. And then he goes and he beats Iran Barkley. Come on. We saw all of that. So we fall in love with the little man beating the big man. And that's what we have on Saturday night. A little man who is trying to prove once again he can beat a big man. Do your boxing history. Henry Armstrong, featherweight to welterweight, and fought for the middleweight championship of the world.
What do you get? 5, 4. He fought for what? 5 titles or the 4?
5.
5. Yeah, that was, yeah. I wasn't sure because
Held 4 of them. No, held 4 of them simultaneously.
So yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Okay.
You know, but styles make fight. Let's look at New England. Okay, obviously one of the better names in the entire region of New England is Willie Pep. His great battles with Sandy Sadler. Okay, then you say, let's bring it up to date, Ronnie. Let's bring it up to speed. Marlon Starling. Everyone thought that Mark Breland could not be beat. Tony, you were in the newsroom with me when it happened in South Carolina, and Marlon Starling knocked out Mark Breland. No one saw it coming. He did it. My one super fantasy fight I would have loved to have seen was Aaron Pryor and Sugar Ray Leonard. To me, that would have been, right up there with all. That would have been one of those fights of the century sort of things, because I mean, you talk about styles and you talk about, whatever, that to me, that's the one. Whenever people ask me if there's a dream fight that I would love to see, and I would have loved to have seen the Hawk and Sugar Ray. That would have been, that would have been something. That would have been something to see. I'll put it to you like this. You know how you and I avoid poison ivy?
Yeah.
That's how Ray Leonard felt about Aaron Pryor.
Yeah.
He would come up with every excuse in the world. Excuses are tools of the incompetent, which build monuments upon nothing, and those who specialize in them seldom become anything other than excuses, excuses, excuses. Ray Leonard had every excuse you could figure out. Oh, my wife is pregnant. Oh, I can't do this. He did not want that headache. Aaron Pryor was a headache. Nobody wanted that headache. Dumbass Boom Boom Mancini got a headache taking on that. Alexis Arguello got a headache taking on
twice.
Boom Boom Mancini wanted it, but Aaron was like, man, I will kill this boy. We both from Ohio. I can't do that. I'm from Cincinnati. He's from Youngstown. No, Aaron Pryor was a beast.
Bad man.
Aaron Pryor beat Tommy Hearns in the amateurs.
Yeah.
That's how bad his little behind was. Tommy was every bit of 6'1". Aaron was every bit of 5'7", and still put a whooping and put that can on Tommy. Put a can of whooping on Tommy. And Tommy, to me, will go down in history as one of the best. See, people get it wrong when they speak about Thomas Hearns. He didn't have a chin. You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. You're 100% wrong. I'm not saying that because I'm in Detroit. You're wrong because Thomas Hearns was too brave. He was too much of an entertaining fighter. Nobody came to see people box. I want to see people knocked out. And that's what Thomas Hearns' mission was each and every time he got into the ring. Ask Juan Domingo Rodin. Ask Ray Leonard about that second fight. Ask James Kitchen about he turned off the heat in his kitchen. Okay? Ask the great Wilfred Benitez. Ask Roberto Duran, who Marvin Hagler didn't stop, who Sugar Ray Leonard didn't stop, but Thomas Hearns not only stopped him, that boy was like, what's my name after the daggone knockdown. Roberto had no clue. He had never been hit savagely like he got hit. Perfect textbook right hand.
I don't think Hearns has ever really gotten, when you're talking about, like you said, textbook boxing, that's a testament to the Crocs Gym, of course, and Emmanuel Stewart as well. Yeah, no, but see, we sat there. You know what? We should both be ashamed of ourselves.
Why?
Because we sat here and we talked about people moving up in weight and whether or not they can do that and still knock people out. What Tommy do? What Tommy do? Tommy was knocking him out as a welterweight. Tommy was knocking him out as a super welterweight. Tommy was knocking him out as a middleweight. Tommy was knocking him out as a light heavyweight. Tommy was knocking him out as a cruiserweight. His best performance was against Virgil Hill.
Yeah.
Virgil Hill was undefeated, silver medalist from the Olympics, and the reigning, basically undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world. He took on Tommy, and Tommy gave him a boxing lesson. See, a complete fighter can do that, and that's what we have in Canelo.
Yeah.
That's what we have in Crawford. That's why this fight is so appealing.
Yeah.
But Tommy never did this. Tommy never went up, came back down.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy went up, went up, went up, went up.
Yeah. And Crawford does have that body type, that those long, lean, fast twitch muscles that you can put the weight on.
How important is that? Fast twitch. That's
everything. Everything.
Does that go back to my thing about reflexes?
Absolutely.
And being able,
absolutely.
I mean, Roy Jones had the most incredible reflexes. You had tremendous reflexes. As a matter of fact, when she was fighting, Tony, and the reason I could see it is because I was a ring announcer, so I had a great seat at many of her fights, and she would sell it out here in Detroit. Mary was just a gifted athlete. You ever seen someone who just comes in and you go, "Ooh, that girl in shape." Then you go, "Oh, that girl can fight." And then you go, "That woman can kick some ass." That's who Mary was, but she was such a good technician because most fighters never follow the instruction of the trainer. Because her trainers taught her how to fight, taught her how to spell the word fight and box all at the same time. That's all she ever knew. So she never had bad habits.
Yeah.
See, there's a difference.
Yeah.
She never had bad habits. Feet always, even when she had to fight a southpaw. You can tell Mary, listen to Mary. Mary don't talk like this. No, Mary was like hit and don't get hit. Okay? I mean, come on. You can talk to every boxing analyst in the country around the world. Who do you think is more articulate? And she damn sure better looking than everybody else. It's Mary Jo Sanders. It's Mary Jo Sanders.
This is why I stay on the show with him. Isn't he wonderful?
No, but Tony. You how long you and I been doing this? Oh, 50 years, right?
Right. I'm not saying you're old, but I think I know a couple of waiters from the Last Supper. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. There you go. Are you Judas? No, anyway. But anyway, real quick. We've been around a lot of athletes. How many of them are that quick? How many of them are that witty? How many of them that smart? How many of them are that engaging? How many of them have that it factor? Bro, if you don't know, you better know. Mary Jo Sanders.
Absolutely.
Check it out.
Absolutely.
1 o'clock. No. I'm going to get in a cheap promo. It's the Ronnie Duncan Show with Mary Jo, Monday through Friday between the hours of 1 and 3 on the Sports Rap Network. Go to our website, sportsrapnet.com, or go to the app, and you can find us on the App Store at Sports Rap Network, the red, the white, and the green. Okay? The red, the green, and the black. Yeah.
All of those 4 colors.
Yeah, that's a lot of colors. But it's red, black, and green. Okay, red, black, green. One more time. Hold tight, and you can hear us. FM 107.5 WGPR FM in Detroit HD2. Now you got me on your show. You have to come on my show because we got a show to do in about 15 minutes. I don't know why. You know what? You're just like old brother. I told you. I said, Tony, you can't have me for a whole hour. I got a show to do. But you just don't care.
Okay. One last question.
Fired. It's gonna be hard to fire me because this time I'm an owner of this station.
Gotcha.
But anyway,
one last question before I let you guys go.
Are you really gonna let us go?
Sure. Absolutely.
Master Tony, I appreciate it, Master Tony. You're so good to us today, Master Tony. I felt like I was gonna be your slave, Master Tony.
No.
Tony McClean.
We'll get you out of here.
Looking like Rupert with that beard.
Listen, Jody's never going to have us on the show again.
I'm just curious. What's one? We've got this Canelo Crawford fight here. Yeah. What's one other fight that you'd like to see happen either by the end of this year, before the end of this year, or the beginning of 2026?
I'm going to go ahead with the one that everybody ain't talking about, but she'll be talking about. Layla, she be stinging Ali. All right, 24-0, 21 knockouts, taking on Clarissa the Goat Shields, 17-0 with 3 knockouts, 168 pounds. Bring the 15 to 20 million. Winner gets Mary Jo Sanders.
Okay, Mary Jo.
Look at him. Look at Ronnie go. You know what? That would be cool.
She needs a hype man, so he won't become a broke man anymore. Go ahead.
You know,
all I want is 500,000 of the 15 million. Go ahead. Can I get 500,000 to 15 million if that fight is made?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, Tony, is this recorded? I need that money. All right, go ahead.
But I mean, that would be wonderful because people want to see it. But I'd also like to get, a girl for Clarissa that is in their prime, that will give her a tough fight, that will, sharpen her sword and her skills.
I know just a woman.
Oh, I said in their prime. I'm retired. What? I've already got my ring. I'm good.
Yeah.
This is all right. If I had to go and we talk about contemporary fights, I'd probably want to see Gervonta Tank Davis against Shakur Stevenson.
Ooh.
Or Teofimo Lopez. Ask your producer. He wants Teofimo Lopez and Tank. I guarantee you he wants that fight. Go ahead, let him speak. What
do you say? What do you say, Harry?
Harry, I know you're listening.
Oh, I'm sorry, my mic was muted. I agree.
Tell me why you want to see that. Be honest. Of all the fights.
This is Tony's show. I'm gonna let Tony talk.
Man, we ain't worried about Tony.
Go ahead, Harry. Feel
No. And Mary Jo, you're looking awesome.
Oh, thank you, Harry. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hey, Harry, go back to the background.
Have you enjoyed the show, Harry? I just need to know. If you've enjoyed the show, that means that it's a good show.
Of course. You guys are awesome.
All right, good enough. Harry's the one, I talked to Harry before the show, and Harry said to me, he said, Ronnie, how about when he fought Miguel Cotto? And I was like, you right. Mm-hmm. You right.
All right.
Hey, man, that Puerto Rican thing is real, baby. Puerto Rico.
But hey, man, it's been, as always, it's been great to have you guys on. And I wanted to try to get you on as early as you could because I know you guys had to do your show later on. But it's so you say Crawford.
I guess
you guys are both saying.
She says
Crawford.
I put it right. I say Crawford. Canelo. She says Canelo. But come Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, we're still married and we still do our show.
Yeah.
But one of us is going to talk some mad junk.
Oh Lord! I hope it's me. Hey Tony, I'm gonna be easy on her, okay?
Yeah.
All right, Tony, you know me. You come to the Duncanville. It's the Tony used to call it the Duncanville when he was my intern at TNH in New Haven. He said, "Man, it's like going into the Terror Dome." I said, "Damn, really? not that bad." He said, "Like going into the Terror Dome." I said, "The Terror Dome." Yeah. I said, "Am I there?" He said, "Man," he said, "You wicked with them lips." Yeah. He said, "Boy, the stuff that come out your mouth." Well, Tony used to look at some of the stuff I was saying on TV and go, "Can a black man say that?"
It's Ronnie Duncan. Yes.
Hey Tony, I still use that line. My name is Ronnie Duncan, and you are not.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm in for, right, Tony?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, you know what? I go back and forth with this one. See, I think it's just a prelude for a rematch. Personally, I think it's a foregone conclusion that they're going to fight at least one more time.
They do that.
Unless it's like an out and out, beat down.
Yeah.
Tony, this is what we need to do. We got to tell all your listeners, and Harry, listen very carefully. Y'all want your rent paid early this month? All right, this is what you do. No, I'm serious. Tony just talked about it. If this fight comes out to be a draw, I think a draw is like 1,016 or 1,600 to 1. Go bet a draw. Take $20 and bet a draw in this fight. Walk away with some money in your pocket. I don't know about you, but I could use $2,400.
That'd be nice.
I could slum along on 2,400 right at this point in time right now.
No. I think I'm gonna bet anywhere like $50. I think I'm gonna go ahead and bet. We can't do that on this station. I forgot this community radio.
Here's Ronnie. Here goes Ronnie.
The views expressed on Outside the Box are not necessarily real. So let me make sure you guys still have a job in another hour or so.
No. We co-owners of this do the thing we do.
Appreciate it.
You got ownership, baby.
Glad to hear
got
that.
Bobby out my share. It's only 12.3%, but hey, when they start going up, I ain't coming down.
Yeah, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Hey guys, again, thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I definitely want to get you guys back on here again when we have another great boxing event, and just to talk boxing as well. But again, let everybody know about the show later on today.
Okay, so 1 o'clock, Sports Rap Network. You can go to our website with sportsrapnet.com, or you can go to the App Store and you can go to get the Sports Rap Network app. Or if you're in Detroit, and we've got one of the strongest signals, it is WGPR 107.5 FM HD2. So you can find us, Ronnie Duncan, at sportsrap.network.com. And that's my email. And Mary has an email too. She doesn't even know it. And, it's Mary Jo at sportsrapnetwork.com. Tony, always a pleasure talking to you.
Yes.
And we'll talk soon. But Tony.
Yes, sir.
I hate to say something to you. And I hope Harry is listening. Darryl Strawberry, Dwight Gooden ain't coming through that door. So whatever you think you have in Francisco, whatever you think you have in Soto, whatever you think you have in Alonzo, you ain't winning nothing this year, Matty fans. You ain't winning.
Yeah, and newsflash, water is wet. But no.
Excuse me. Who has the second best record? No, third best record in all Major League Baseball. Who has the best record? Who has the best record in the American League currently, right now, by half a game?
The Tigers.
84 and 62. You don't even know the players. You don't even know the players on our lineup. But when that excuse me, you're in New Haven, Connecticut. Who just won? Who kicked whose ass 2 games in a row?
Oh, I saw them coming into the Bronx.
The Yankees. The Yankees lost what? Did they lose Tuesday? Did they lose Wednesday? They don't even want to play today. Putting double digits up on them. 2 nights in a row.
This way.
We took one of our worst pitches, and he got a win against you. And you got 80 wins. The Yankees got 80 wins.
Mm-hmm. The scary thing about the Tigers is I think the run that they made last year is helping them, because remember, last year they were probably a year ahead of schedule. I think what they saw happen last year was supposed to happen this year. And now the fact that the division's already pretty much won. And let's face it, you also have arguably the best pitcher in the game.
Say one more time. You know your baseball.
Oh, he's
over 200 strikeouts already. Over 200 strikeouts already for the season, and we still got 16 games left to go. He had at least 4 more starts. What you gonna do when the school will come down on you?
They've got the thing. If there's anything that may be a little bit of a weakness, is the middle bullpen, is the middle relief.
Oh, the same one that kicked the Yankees behind last night.
I know.
Flattery went 7 innings, by the way.
Well, I know. These guys go 6-7 innings. That's the biggest problem with the Mets, is that even their best guys can't even go 5-6 innings.
What did I tell you? Didn't I say Strawberry ain't coming through that locker room? Gooden ain't coming in that locker room. Didn't I tell you that, man?
Hey,
didn't I tell you that? Gary Carter ain't coming back. I know he gone, but he ain't coming back. Look at the patch.
Hey, you know what? They didn't win the division last year and they made a run, but I don't. It's going to be tough this year because
y'all got that high payroll. Francisco Lindor making all that money. Soto making all that money. Pete Alonso making all that money. Y'all better do something. The Miracle Mets.
Hey,
Tony, I'm gonna let you go because you know you beat me up in '69. You know what you did to my Baltimore Orioles. You and Rob Parker and Bron Swoboda. I hate all of y'all.
Mary Jo, what I like is that Ronnie doesn't take anything personally.
Exactly. And Tony, I want to apologize in advance before you have us on your next show.
I appreciate it.
All right, man. You take care. We got things to do.
Y'all take care. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
All right, we'll do. Take care. All right, bye-bye.
Again, Ronnie Duncan and Mary Jo Sanders. If you get a chance, definitely check out their show. Harry, before we go for a quick break, I agree with you. If it comes down to the cards, if it comes down to the judges' cards, you know they're going to favor the champ in this.
Yeah, I feel Canelo's record is inflated. So because I think he's lost, other fights on the card, and they've given it to him.
Sure.
So I don't want it to go to the card. I want Crawford to knock him out.
Yeah, but it's going to be a good fight, though. It's that's the thing that I'm really looking forward to. The fact that we've got a fight that is going to bring together. And actually, Saturday is a real big sports Saturday. You got a lot of stuff going. You got college. That's a big college football day as well. You still got the pennant races as well. A lot of but yeah. The night will be capped by what hopes to be a really, 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 really tremendous fight between again Canelo Alvarez taking on Terrence Crawford at the Reliance Stadium in Vegas on Netflix. The fight, the undercard starts. The actual card starts at 9. We're probably looking at about say 11:30, depending on how the undercards go. When we see both Alvarez and Crawford get into the ring, but yeah, looking forward to it. Definitely.
Yeah. I don't. Well, let me just say that you're listening to Outside the Box with Anthony McClean on WNHHLP 103.5 FM. But just getting that out the way before it turns. Right. But I think it worries me that it's on Netflix, just because it hasn't been great with them.
Well, they that very first one they had. It was awful. There was some terrible glitches. But to their credit, since they've had other events, they've had they had the Thanksgiving Day games on, and they had even another boxing event. Not as many glitches. So at some point they're going to get. I think they got it right. And see, this they've been basically using the last say year or so to as prep, because I think that there's let's face it, now they've got boxing, they've got football.
Yeah,
they're trying to be a player in the sports media. They're going to. I believe they're getting the home run derby this upcoming season for baseball. I think that they're trying to get themselves in that whole thing, because the other boxing pay-per-view thing, DAZN, they have a contract now with the NHL. So everybody's trying to jockey into position, and I think we're going to see more events within the next say 3 to 4 years where
I mean, imagine the bandwidth that these people need to be able to put these live sporting events on. So I guess AI is going to broaden the horizons for these guys.
And the thing is, what's kind of interesting to me, when cable first came out, when cable started to become the norm, they made their money with movies and specials and whatever. But clearly now it's about sports. It's all about sports now. We talk. We've been talking at length in regards to the whole partnership with ESPN and the NFL. It looks like MLB may be getting into a certain situation with them as well. Again, everything is still pending. The NBA, they're going to have a handful of games on Amazon Prime, and they're also going to reestablish their relationship with NBC. And again, I mentioned with the NHL, they're going to have a handful of games on DAZN and other outlets. It's going to become the norm where it's going to be more about streaming. I mean, you'll still get games on quote unquote regular TV or not non-pay TV, but it's all about streaming now. It's all about streaming for all these sports.
Now the NFL deal, it doesn't take effect until next year.
Yes, well, it's still the way that I hear it is that the overseas games, the international games, I believe they're going to ferret them out on that ESPN package that just started, where you can watch basically all of the ESPN. But the whole deal takes effect next season, because what's holding everything up now is this 10% ownership. It's not official yet.
Yeah,
because they're still trying to work out. Because see, this is unprecedented, where you have a league that basically is. The thing is, they're going to be. Remember, even though it's 10%, they're going to be part. They're going to be sort of like silent partners.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I'm wondering if how many hoops they have to jump through politically to get this done, right? Because it starts getting into that area of politics where they start talking about whether it's going to be okayed by the FCC and all of that stuff. So it's getting muddy.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. It's definitely a slippery slope, because see, the thing is, it's not just the ownership as well, but also they're the thing that sets this deal apart from the deals that they have with the regular deals, what they have with the NBCs and the ABCs and other. You're talking intellectual policies here.
Yeah,
because they become automatically, they're going to become the official betting lot. They're going to be the official betting partner of the NFL. That's another 2-hour conversation in and of itself.
Yeah.
when you're talking about the betting. But yeah, and the fact that they're basically going to become owners of the NFL network. The thing that a lot of people are fearful of, and we sort of saw it a little bit of it this Sunday. If you had a chance to check out Red Zone, people don't want to see an ESPN version of Red Zone.
Yeah,
that's something that is, the NFL Network stumbled on that, and it turned out to be something that was unique. Because let's face it, Red Zone was started because of the this was done strictly. It was done strictly for fantasy league folks, but because of the nature of what it was, and that whole and the way that they did it, seven unanswered hours of football.
Yeah.
It turned out, now you would again, and I'm being naive, I guess, when I ask this, it's like you would hope that ESPN would say to itself, you know what, we need to just leave that alone and whatever. But
yeah, but they're not. They're not.
Yeah, exactly,
You saw commercials already, and the guy, what's his name?
Scott Hansen.
He already changed his tagline. The 7 hours of uninterrupted football is no longer there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He just said 7 hours of football.
Yeah.
So, and then another thing is that I was hoping that since I'm subscribed to ESPN Plus, that I was going to get the Red Zone for free. But I didn't. I had to pay $10.
No. It's the thing is, they have different packages. I'm like you. I have the ESPN Plus package. I do it a lot more so for college football and college basketball. But they have a package where for $29.99, basically you can watch all the ESPN networks, because in a lot of instances they have it like the package that you're talking about, which has ESPN and ESPN Plus. You still have to, if you want to watch something on, say, ESPN or ESPN2, you have to still be subscribed to cable. Now, a lot of folks, let's face it, a lot of folks have just dumped cable and have gotten either IPTV services, or they do stuff through the Fire Stick or what have you. I have IPTV, so I'm able to watch. Pretty much any sporting event that I want.
Yeah.
But now with this package with that ESPN is talking about, it gives you the opportunity to get all of the sports. And I was saying before, the rumor has it that they're working on a similar type deal with Major League Baseball. Not so much that where Major League Baseball will have a 10% thing, but who knows? But basically what they're talking about is having something similar where I believe NBC/Peacock is going to be taking over the Sunday night games, and then Netflix is supposed to be getting, I guess, the home run derby. But what's happening with Major League Baseball now, mainly, it's the caveat now is these regional stations, and it's beyond, say, like SNY with the Mets and Yes Network with the Yankees and Nesson with the Red Sox. You actually have teams because the Arizona Diamondbacks, they have their own cable network now. The Texas Rangers, the Padres as well. What you're gonna start to see now is not so much regional networks, but the show is going to be the Diamondbacks, the Padres, the Royals, I believe, are working on that as well. But the one thing that they've got to do, and I give the NFL credit for being the first, you got to get rid of these blackouts, because you want your games to be seen by as many people as possible.
Yeah, those blackouts drive me crazy.
Yeah, I don't. They're literally, it's because see, the NFL went through that for years, because the thing I used to always hate, you would get the regional games, but here in this area, we would always be forced to watch the Jets, Giants, and Patriots every week. And maybe you get the Cowboys, maybe you get the Steelers, maybe you get the Packers. You basically would get the other teams in that division. So, if it's a non-Jet game, you're getting the Patriots, you're getting the Dolphins and the Colts when they were still in Baltimore.
Well, it's the same thing on the MLB app, right? So
yes.
On the MLB app, I try to go see a game and I'm blacked out, and it's like, well, what's the point of having this app?
There was a movement years ago. There was sports fans. I actually had the guy on one of my shows, the Sports Fans Coalition, and the thing that they were trying to do was eliminate the sports blackouts, because it was totally unfair. It's unfair that you have to be forced to watch the teams in your area. I'll give you a perfect example. When I lived in Carolina, for football Sundays, we were forced to watch the Carolina Panthers. Now, if you're a Panthers fan, that's great. But if you're not, that's not too cool. And the thing about Carolina is it's in a weird area, because 5 hours to the north, you got Baltimore, you got Washington. 5 hours to the south, you got Atlanta. And then you could make the argument also for either like the Dolphins or the Jags. There were instances where if the Panthers were playing a 4:00 kickoff, there would be no 1:00 Sunday games. Now that's just, you cannot have an NFL Sunday with no 1 o'clock.
Tony, I gotta go real quick, but just continue your show.
Sure. The thing, and again, what the thing I was just trying to force is that in certain areas you did not have a 1:00 game on NFL Sunday. Now that's about as sacrilegious as you can get, in football wise. 1:00 on Sundays, you should be watching the game, whether it's a team in your area or not. But there were instances, because of the old blackout rule, where if the Panthers started at 4 p.m., there was no 1:00 game on Sundays. And to show it even further, when the then Hartford Whalers played their first year in the National Hockey League, if you lived in Connecticut, the Rangers and teams like the Boston Bruins would be blacked out. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Outside the Box in just a second. We're going to take a quick break. And we're going to take a quick break here. Ron Glover will be joining us in just a sec. You're listening to Outside the Box here on WNHHLP 103.5 FM. Ronald Glover will be joining us shortly. Will be joining us here on the show in just a few minutes. And we welcome you back to the second half of Outside the Box here on WNHH FM 103.5 in New Haven. Thank you for joining us. Want to bring in our next guest. He is a longtime journalist out of Philadelphia, author, media man, and just we have a common buddy in Michael Tillery, who's been on the show several times. He is Ronald Glover. And Ron, thanks, Ronald. Thank you for joining us here on today's edition of Outside the Box. Got on mute, Ben. I'm got on mute. I think you're still on mute.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. We got you. Thanks for joining us, man. I appreciate it. Sorry for a few little glitches or what have you. We were just talking about the Alvarez Crawford fight coming up. Let me get your take on the fight coming up this Saturday.
I'm not a big fan of fights where there's a catch weight. It always seems to go against the boxer who's going to catch the weight, going to meet at the weight. I love Bud. I admire what he's done in the ring. I just think this just may be a little too much. This may be just too big of a leap right now. Alvarez has been at that weight for some time and just handled himself. If I were betting, I would probably take Alvarez, but I'm pulling for Bud because Bud's not going to rush into this fight. If we know anything about Bud, around the third or fourth round, he gets to cook. He's going to spend those first few rounds to figure you out, and then that's when he goes to work.
Absolutely.
So the opportunity is there for a win. I'm just up in the air on this one.
Yeah, I'm like you. I'm like you too, because to me this is one of those styles make fights,
right?
And And to be honest, like I said, as I was telling our previous guest before, I think this is just chapter one. I think unless somebody just gets the you know what beat out of them, right. I think we're looking at least at the very least a second fight.
And that's what I don't see. I don't see a knockout. I just see two guys really. They'll mix it up, but I see two guys really trying to protect their legacies.
Yeah, and that's the key word here. This is a legacy bout. Yeah. This is because you're getting two guys at the top of their game in their prime. And let's face it, we haven't gotten enough of that in boxing over the last 5-10 years. We're getting more Jake Paul fights than we are getting and that's
I wouldn't get started on him.
Yeah, that's another 2-hour conversation in and of itself. Wanted to just get your thoughts also. We're week in football season, and the thing that I'm aware that always makes me laugh the first week of the football season is we're used to overreactions and everything like that, but week one it is like there's 16 fan bases that are going to be happy and going to tell you that their teams, because their team won, this is the reason why they're going to the Super Bowl or whatever. Right. And then the other 16, they're ready to fire the limo driver, the guy that works in the toilets, the guys who take the tick. They're ready to fire everybody. Now, I know down in Philly, they're still basking in the glow of the Super Bowl win, and they get the win the other night, and it was marred a little bit by, of course, Carter's little thing. But what's the vibe with the Eagles going into this season? I mean, they're looked upon, of course, they're defending champs now. Their second title in the last 5-10 years, different regime, but they've maintained that consistency over the last 5-10 years. And to me, Jalen Hurts still doesn't really get enough love for being as cerebral a quarterback as well. Just talk a little bit about the aftermath of the Super Bowl and now going into this upcoming season.
The vibe of the city right now, they've pretty much taken on the mindset of Nick Sirianni, the head coach, and Jalen Hurts to the point it's pretty much business now. We've had months to celebrate the Super Bowl, bask in the glow. Once the rings came, that was probably the last thing. The team didn't even come out to see the banner drop last Thursday. Once the preseason began, Nick Sirianni was pretty much like, we're done with that, and it's back to business. If you know anything about Jalen Hurts, he's all business. And with him, I just believe that for him not to be considered among the elite right now is it's ridiculous. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's because they want to do so much for Josh Allen, or Mahomes is on his way out, and they're still looking for someone else to step in. It's like when it comes to Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts, these are two quarterbacks who they just don't want to put all their eggs in the basket just yet. And to me, I think Jalen Hurts is the perfect person, for that. He's pretty much, he has the city in the palm of his hand. And whereas before, when it was kind of iffy, he's proven himself. And this is his team. Joel Embiid used to say this is his city. This is Jalen Hurts' city.
Yeah. It's and the thing about it, I think what was interesting is that when you go back to Thursday's game, clearly the Cowboys were saying we're not going to let we're not going to Barkley beat us. They clear, that was their clear game plan. But again, people forget what Jalen Hurts brings to the table. He's already, I think he's with it. He's rushing touchdowns now as a quarterback.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I think he's already surpassed Cunningham's record for rushing touchdowns in the Eagle history, has he not?
I believe so.
Is close to it.
If not, he's close. And the thing, when it comes to Hurts, winners are going to find a way. And he's a winner. And Dallas did set a precedent to not let Barkley beat them. But Hurts is going to find a way. And we know that. Whether it's running the ball, whether it's throwing downfield, I think his accuracy is underrated as a down-the-field passer. We saw what he did in the Super Bowl with the pass to Devontae Smith. We call it the dagger. That was pretty much, well, his accuracy is underrated, among other things. But he's definitely a winner, and I believe he's perfect for this city.
On the other side, the Phillies, more than it looks like, barring something really crazy, we're going to win. They're going to win the East again. Mm-hmm. Now, the thing with them is they've sort of teased the fans, it seems like to me. Yeah. They've gotten to a World Series. They've been very, very successful. They had, they won the division last year. Then, they got knocked out by the Mets. And they've had their little bit of injury. I know Trey Turner's down now. They lost Zach Wheeler for the rest of this season. Right. But is it pretty much World Series or bust for them?
I think it's been World Series or bust the last 2 seasons. And, with the Phillies, it's either you have pitching and no hitting or hitting and no pitching. It just seems like they never have both at the right time. Aaron Nola's just coming back, so he's pretty much trying to get himself in playoff shape. Obviously, losing Zach Wheeler is huge. And but you grab a reliever in Durant, but you have to get to that point.
Exactly.
With the hitters, Schwarber's been out of his mind this year. And who would ever think that he would have twice as many home runs as Bryce Harper? I say when it comes to him in the offseason, you have to give him what he's asking for. You have to give him what he's asking for. But when it comes to hitting, it's either feast or famine with the Phillies.
And I think I think that's one of the reasons why they haven't won. It's, I know there's some people that say there's a softball team waiting for a game to happen, but the thing is, at least to me, for this year, there's been more of a balance. I mean, as great as Schwarber has been and Harper, whatever, to me, Turner is the key for them. They, you still have to have that leadoff guy that's the igniter that sets the pace and everything. And again, everybody loves the power and all the other stuff, but you need a Trey Turner, not some, especially at the top of the lineup. But again, he's probably he's probably one of the most underrated shortstops on a day-to-day basis as well.
Very underrated. And from the leadoff position, like you said, you need that man to get on and work the count. Well, you can't throw back and forth to first like you used to. I think it's 3 times and he's awarded second base. Mm-hmm. But Turner sets the tone for everything else. The one thing I'm glad they did address, I would have liked to seen them bring up Crawford from the minors, but to grab Hader from Minnesota was definitely a boost. Mm-hmm. Definitely a boost. And that keeps Schwarber at the DH. You don't have to put him in the outfield. And you just work it from there. But from the left-handed spot, it's just it worries me because sometimes I think Bryce Harper presses too much. But now with those two batting, back to back, you've got to pitch to somebody.
Yep.
You've got to pick your poison. So that makes Trey Turner all the more important to get on base.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We hit on the Eagles. I gotta bring up the Sixers, and it's from the whole, the process to now, and with Embiid with the injuries and what have you, and the way that the roster has turned over. I mean, what do we expect from the Sixers coming into this season?
I was hoping we didn't have this.
Yeah, sorry.
There are really, and the vibe that I'm getting, there are no expectations.
Yeah,
it's been pretty much what you're gonna get. Embiid's gonna play 50 games, if that. Paul George, he's gonna go through his visits to the injury list. I'm impressed with the young players, and I would have loved to have seen Paul George moved on draft night. And some days I feel like just blow it all up, turn it over to Maxey, build from there. Other days I'm like, just see what you can get for George, get what you can get out of Embiid, because the money is immense. I'm just really disappointed that they gave him the extension, and probably even more disappointed that he played in the Olympics.
How much, we talked about the process, and they put so much into that. How much of it really set the franchise back, in your opinion?
Going way back, you drafted a center 3 straight seasons. Noel, Okafor, Embiid. Then you go with draft Stones. Then the infamous trade for the Markelle Fultz, Jason Tatum trade. That there probably changed everything. That probably changed everything, and the Sixers will never recover from that.
Yeah.
I think their best shot was, ironically, the year they lost to Toronto. 4 bounces, and because you had Milwaukee was definitely beatable, and you had Durant go down in the finals. And even with that, I still think they had a legitimate chance, because Jimmy Butler was really, he was what they needed at the time. And just to really let all of that go just hurt. You stuck with Simmons, you stuck with Tobias Harris. And I think another move that really isn't talked about a lot, Matisse Thybulle. You got rid of your two best defensive perimeter players in back-to-back seasons. Right. And Simmons and Thybulle. Okay, you want to move Simmons? Move him. I still think there was a way you could have worked that out, and just maybe put the ball in his hands and just had him facilitate. He's not going to shoot. So find another role for him. But defensively, he can guard 1 through 5. And that's a rarity in this league. Thybulle, I just don't think they did enough to develop him. I think they just relied on his defense, and that was it. but I think they gave up on him too quickly. Just looking at this season, I don't think there are any expectations. We're going to get what we can get through it, and just see what the next step is going to be in the draft. But I think that Daryl Morey, I think his time should be up here. I really think the team should be sold. I think the team should be sold, and I think you need to really get some serious basketball minds in place, because what they have now is just, it's not working.
Yeah. It's and now, to me, I'm a Knick fan here, but the thing is, I've always, there's always like teams that you always sort of want to see do. Like I root for the Mets baseball wise, but I've always had an affinity for the old Pirates, from back in the day with the Dave Parkers and the Willie Stargers, whatever. And the Sixers, of course, with the legacy of Doc and Moses, and then with Barkley, what have you. And it got so close. Like you said, I'm sure every Philly fan relives those 79 bounces from Game 7 years ago. And the thing about, I remember talking to a friend of mine, a Sixers fan, said, look, this is going to, you're going to. I felt like it was like, okay, because everybody goes through that one bitter loss before they get a chance to get to that title. And I felt like they were right on the cusp there. Right. And for whatever reason, but see, the NBA has become so unforgiving. You get that 3 to 5 year window to win, and if you don't take advantage of it, right, it can be devastating. It can be devastating, because I mean, even with you wouldn't even mind being sort of like a Utah of, like, say that of the Jordan era, because at least you get to the finals, at least you get there. What's been so frustrating, I think, for most Philly fans, is that you felt like that the Toronto loss would be sort of a catalyst, but then you had the COVID, and then everybody took a step back with the COVID year as well. Right. And then you sort of had, and then in a sense you had to sort of, almost do a second rebuild to a certain extent, and it just never, for whatever reason, it just never could mesh or what have you.
And not even to that point, even when you lose Jimmy Butler, you bring in James Harden for Simmons. There were so many other deals on the table, and I remember two vividly. The Clippers were offering a young Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I remember that. Sacramento was offering Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, who they got for a season, and Harrison Barnes. Sixers said no. You trade him for Harden pretty much straight up. I think you also gave them Seth Curry and Andre Drummond, who you could have used. Yeah, so you trade your best defender, your best three-point shooter, and arguably your best rim protector, but more importantly, your safety net for Embiid. All in one fell swoop. And Harden comes in, does what Harden does. And it was just retread after retread after retread. Now you're retreading with Paul George. And that's why expectations are low. Yeah. And I don't see Paul George being moved before the trade deadline. If then.
Yeah. It's again, it's with especially with the cap being the way it is now as well, it's going to make it tough. I mean, probably, I guess you could probably get more for Embiid right now, I guess, than you could for Paul George.
I think you can if you go to the you may have to go out west, but I would definitely trade him out west. But you can definitely get more for Embiid at this point. I believe.
Yeah. Even with the injury history, it's not a Greg Oden thing, but I still think if he's able to, maybe if he has to sit a year, I still think that I don't know, I don't know if we'll ever get to the MVP level again,
Right.
but I still think that he can be a very serviceable center in the NBA. Again, like I said, it all depends on where you're going. You're listening to Outside the Box here on 103.5 FM, the broadcasting live from downtown New Haven. Tony McClean alongside Ronald E. Glover II. And Ron, of course, has been a journalist and also a very, very accomplished writer. He was a contributing writer for the first draft of collection of stories chronicling race, sports, and social justice in the 21st century. You co-authored that with one of our colleagues, Chris Murray. And you've also come out now with a book where you honor your late father in his during his tenure. To talk a little bit about that in Walking with a Soldier, a memoir.
That was a book that I penned in 2023, and I would say it wasn't hard, but it's probably the most enlightening thing I've ever written. It gave me a chance to really go back, relive my childhood, and give me an even greater appreciation for my father, having a father, and just really doing more. It was more laughter than sadness in the stories, just because of who my dad was, and to experience those things just made me want to be a better father, made me want to be a good father. And now I can see why, the way I feel about my son now, I can see how he felt about me. I understand it now. I understand it.
As someone who also had a dad in the military, there's sort of a special bond, I always feel, because of that. Because there's going to be times, like you said, there's more when you're able to really go outside of yourself and look back and see how what happened back in the day really applies now. And of course, the influence or whatever. How much, it's a double-sided question. How much of his influence do you still use today in your everyday life? And what was the one thing in looking back that you say, I understand it a little bit better now after getting out of the looking glass, so to speak?
Good question. I would say him. I think the most poignant moment for him and I was my high school graduation. He dropped out in the 11th grade and he enlisted to go to Vietnam. My grandmother, my dad, first of all, my dad was the oldest of 8 children.
Okay.
So at that point, it's, my grandmother's working, but need more money in the house.
Sure.
Dad's in the 11th grade, and he went to Thomas Edison High School in Philadelphia, which lost more young men in the Vietnam War than any high school in the country. So it was either graduate high school, try to find a job, and risk getting caught up in the gang wars in Philadelphia, or go to Southeast Asia, fight this war, put your life on the line, but hey, you get to send money home every month. And he chose the latter of the two. And so he gave up graduating high school for that. And when I graduated high school, it really, he was as emotional as I've probably ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying to myself, you know, this isn't just my diploma. This is his. You know, he gave up a lot to get to that point for his family. And if anything, he let me know that you know, sometimes you have to sacrifice for the greater good. And, you know, as men, family men, that's what we're supposed to do. Exactly. Especially when it comes to our children. And in the relationship with my son, I've learned that, you know, I've always said, hey, you know, I'll give him what he needs now. I'll get mine when I get a little older.
Right. Exactly.
He's 20. He's 22 now, so I'm getting mine while I'm older.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's, you know, it's funny you were mentioning graduation. When one of the things I remember, and my dad, he was in the Korean War. He was in the Marines, and he would, you know, he went very, very young, literally, I think either right out of high school or what have you. But, you know, education was always very, very important. And when he passed, you know, you have to go and, round up all the things or whatever. And he was not one that was really sort of like sentimental or whatever. But as I'm, you know, cleaning up his place or whatever, there was a separate box that he had for all of his, you know, his medals and whatever. Mm-hmm. The one other thing that he had was the program for my college graduation. I hadn't seen that. I didn't even keep that myself. My mom, because my mom, I think, had it, but I saw that, and like the first time I had seen it since that night, and it was like, wow, he actually kept that, you know. And again, it's those, you know, we sort of take for granted what our folks think of us and what they do for us, and it really hit home that he always had that, you know. I'm not going to say he wasn't emotional or whatever, but yeah, you know, we're taught to keep stuff in, you know, and the fact that he had that as like he had that with all of his own personal mementos. Mm-hmm. It just showed me, and it just showed me what I meant to him, and also just reminded me what he meant to me as well. And again, I don't think folks can really understand that bond that the dad and the son have, especially, and you hate that it has to happen after they're gone. You want to always be able to give them, you know, the whole phrase that you want to give them their flowers while they're alive. But I felt close. I felt that much more closer seeing that, you know.
Yeah, and in some ways, I used to feel cheated because I lost my dad when I was 20. So I never got to have the conversations. Hey, Dad, I met this woman that I'm thinking about marrying, and you know, the reason I didn't name my son after me was because I said he's never going to meet his grandfather.
Right.
He's never going to meet his grandfather. And in a selfish way, I said, you know what? All I have is his name. That's all we share now. So I'm keeping this for myself. And I'll let my son, you know, start his own legacy. But there's so many things as I wrote the book that I thought about. And when you talk about mementos, I remember as a little boy, he had his Kevlar. He had his helmet. Mm-hmm. He had a bunch of sayings and everything written on it. And sometimes I would take it and put it in my room, or I would hide it in my closet because I really wanted it. Mm-hmm. And when he passed, you know, you're going through, like you said, you're going through mementos and things. And My sister got a photo that she wanted that we haven't seen to this day. It's a family portrait.
Mm-hmm.
My mom knows she has it. And my mom, naturally, she got the flag. And I never found his Kevlar. And it drives me crazy that I can't find it because I know it was in the house somewhere. And I never found it.
Yeah.
So I've got, I don't think I have anything but photos. I just have photos and memories, but that was the one thing I wanted.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I'm sure you'll find it one day. I really do. I think, it may not, it'll probably happen at a time when you least expect it, but it'll be the right time.
Right.
It'll definitely be the right time. I wanted to piggyback on the other book that you collaborated on in regards to race and sports, and you also put together the Black Athletes Sports Network. And in these times now, with race, with sports, and what have you, and I was speaking with someone yesterday in regards to, you see the reaction with Lamar Jackson, with the fan, with the interaction with the fan. Over the years, we've seen, how somebody like Colin Kaepernick was basically blackballed in the league or whatever. And even though we see more, people that look like us on the field, still don't see enough off the field or in the front offices or whatever. And even though the numbers are up in certain sports, we see that there were six, basically half of the NFL now has black star quarterbacks, but they still look at the black athlete, male or female, as subservience. We saw what Taylor Townsend had to go through in regards with the U.S. Open as well, and it's the sort of thing where I don't know if it's so much of a question as much of a statement, but it's bothersome that we're still dealing with these same sort of issues in 2025 to a lesser extent that we saw in the 60s, in the 50s, and even to a certain extent with what Jackie Robinson and guys in the NFL and guys in the NBA had to deal with and are still dealing with in this instance.
It's disheartening because you would like to think that you've cleared some hurdles, and it's almost like when you clear a hurdle, it's like there's something that pushes you back. You may clear the hurdle, but you're stepping into a puddle. So it's like, all right, these things are still here. And I remember they used to say, well, racism will end when all the racists die off. Well, that's not true, because a tree may die off, but if you don't kill it at the root,
there you go,
it's going to keep producing. And we've seen this reach down into the younger generation, younger than us.
Right.
So this is, a mentality. It's an ideology, and it's something that's not going to go away. We just have to keep our knowledge of self, knowledge of who we are, and, just motivate yourself to push through these things, because, and I hate to be the pessimist, but it won't end in our lifetime. It might not even end in our children's lifetimes. But, it's just one of those things.
And it's only, I wrote a lot of articles back in the day in regard to the Negro Leagues, and I still do a lot of stuff in regard to that. The one thing that I always appreciated about the Negro League. It almost had nothing to do with what they were able to do on the field. The fact that they basically said, "Okay, you don't want us to play your game, fine. We will make our own league. We will be better, and we will make it so that you will, in a sense, take from us, unfortunately or unfortunately." And you see that in small instances today. I see what Ice Cube is doing with the big three.
Right.
Being able to have ownership. You see what certain athletes like LeBron James and others are able to do on an entrepreneurial basis outside of that. To me, I think that's, like you said, we ourselves may not live to see it, but you hope at some point that you do see the changes, and not just have a Jordan owning a team more on a ceremonial basis, as opposed to whatever, where there really is true ownership, and they're not there as sort of a figurehead.
Right. And the beauty, and I've said this a lot recently, the beauty of the Negro League, the beauty of that time, it was almost like a Black Renaissance. It was you had the Negro League, you had Black Wall Street, you had Jack Johnson, who was an entity by himself, and you had Garveyism, and it was like all bases were covered. And Marcus Garvey's organization had over 9 million members.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get 9 Black people to agree on one thing.
Yeah.
And, but that time was, it was a special time. And during a dangerous time, and during one of the more dangerous times for Blacks in our history. But even in that, there was pride, there was the willingness to go forward and make things happen. Even with Ice Cube and the big three, he was even undermined when they put a 3-on-3 tournament in the Olympics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, and I think the NBA took their backing from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it hurt him all kinds of ways. But to his credit, he just keeps going.
Yeah.
And they keep coming.
Yeah.
They keep coming. Every year it's like a who's who. All right, well, who's next? We're waiting for Carmelo Anthony to get out there. Shout out Melo, my man, for going into the Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame, exactly.
But,
hey, Gloves, hey, I appreciate you taking out the time today. I apologize for the early, for the little glitches early on, but we definitely want to get you back on here. We can talk even more so, not just Philly sports, but just sports in general. But I wanted to make sure we did get you on here to talk about the book and talk about all the contributions that you've done over the years. And again, I appreciate you coming on today, man. And
thanks for having me. Always good to see you, and I'll be tuning in.
Hey, I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it, man. You take care of yourself.
Right, will do.
All right, now.
All right, thanks.
Ronald Glover, of course, joining us here on Outside the Box. Enjoy the rest of your day, morning, evening, afternoon. We'll join you again next week. Preliminary guest coming up next week, LA Bachelor from the Bachelor News Report. And other guests, of course, will be jumping into more baseball as they get down to the pennant races. And, of course, we'll also be focusing on football. Again, enjoy the rest of your day, morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you're all watching or listening, and we'll talk to you again next week on Outside the Box. Take care, Harry.